Welcome back to another episode of What's Up Doc. A lot of you has been asking me lately about tattoos. I do have tattoos on my arm. This is all Arabic and certain font of Arabic. And the story of me getting tattoo, as you know, I have a lot of stories and I don't do things without a reason and inspiration. So let me give you a little bit of background of my tradition and my family. My grandmother, my mom's mother, was my grandfather's second cousin. I know, but that's how they did it back then. And she belonged to a very traditional Bedouin tribal family in Jordan. And the culture is when the girl becomes of age and she becomes a potential bride or wife, which is around 16, 17, they would tattoo the face. They will tattoo either the chin or they will tattoo the forehead or they will tattoo next to the eye. And the reason behind that, because the life of a nomad can get a bit dangerous or can be a bit challenging if some of the females and the women that belong to a certain tribe will wander, away from the borders of the parameter of their property. Some of them don't read or write. So if they were found by somebody else, they will have the markings of that tribe. It's a very old tradition, and probably some of you would think this is horrible, it's awful. But honestly, they did it in a very pretty way, which is, now it's very popular and it's a huge trend. But anyways, so it was almost like a system of protection, and the women felt a lot safer if they were marked. And obviously it was just hand tapped the old fashioned way, and it obviously didn't hurt. It's very subtle, it's very small. So you'll find the grandmother, the mom, the aunts, they all have the same design, like I said, in the chin, the forehead, or next to the eye. And that means even when they get together as women, they'll know which tribe they belong to and who's the family. And, depending on the setup of the tribe, you would almost, be careful what you say or be careful how much you share. If there's a lot of competition, especially property, and they're all farmers, they farmed citrus and they farmed grapes, and they sold that to distilleries that made wine and made hard liquor, actually. And of course, the citrus, they just, sold the fruit. So my mom grew up on a farm with 8 other uncles. So there were like 9 boys, and then there were like 4 girls on my grandfather's side, and they were all farmers. They had cattle. They never drove really a car. They rode their horses, because also the landscape of Jordan is, the terrain is very, where my mom came from, it's very rocky, and it's very more like southern tip of Italy, like very Sicilian, Maltese kind of terrain. So it's really hard to drive. Everybody rode horses, and it's a lot easier to navigate, and it's a lot easier to climb up hills. They're very hilly, very rocky. Anywho, my grandmother met my grandfather, and they did fall in love. It was an arranged marriage, and he was 19 and she was 16 when he met her, or 14. And, he asked for her hand from his uncle. And he said, well, she's too young. You have to wait. So he waited, a couple of years before they met first. So he did not know who she was until he found out she's a second cousin. And they got married. And they were so in love. Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away at age 37 with kidney failure. She was a healer in her community. She was almost a herbologist by training. She never went to school, and she was, like I said, the healer or the medicine woman for that tribe and that community. So I'm not sure the myth is, in the story is, she had 6 girls and she wanted to give my grandfather a son so bad because to carry the family name, and she couldn't. And I have a feeling, which is it's never been discussed, never been spoken, never been told. From everybody that I talked to, it sounded like she took a lot of the herbs to give her a boy, not knowing, of course, that the male dictate the sex of the baby or the gender of the baby. And I have a feeling that she took enough that it just, exhausted her adrenal glands, and as a result, the kidneys failed. And unfortunately, she didn't make it to the hospital. So her eldest daughter was married off. My mom was number 2. She was in college, undergrad. And the youngest daughter, which is number 6, she was 4 years old. So it was really sad. Anywho, when they got married, my grandmother also wore very traditional, heavy wool, black gowns, tribal gowns, and it consists of a gown, and it consists also of a scarf, and on top of the scarf there's like a covering that goes, she looked like a nun, honestly, a covering that goes on top, which is black, and then she will inherit a lot of silver pieces, jewelry pieces, that one of them will be a band, a beautiful silver, goes around the head over the big covering, and then she'll have silver here, and she'll have a silver belt. Well, she was a newlywed. I think she had my aunt, the first one, and my grandfather, who was the only one that went to actual university. He was an agriculture engineer. He went to Iraq, Baghdad, and graduated from there and came back to Jordan to help out, designing and architecting the farms and the properties and stuff. And he's a very he's an engineer, well educated. He saw her one day huffing and puffing and trying to do chores around the house with such a heavy wooled gown. Of course she had layers underneath. He goes, all right, time out, stop. He goes, you can't work like this. You can't have children running around. It's just so heavy. And she was getting migraines, but it wasn't the cause of it. Obviously, migraines is hormonal and stress related too. But she used to get like debilitating migraine headaches, and they didn't know, of course, back then it was migraine, which is, it was a headache. But my mom has it, my sister, myself, my mom's sisters have it, so it's all genetic. Thank you. But so, and he urged her, and he said that you probably, why you're having a headache, because you're carrying all that silver weight on your head and on your body with the wool, and it's it's the terrain is dusty. And he goes, okay, I need to go take you. We got to change your outfit. Maybe that's where I get it from, my grandfather. This is now the right outfit for you. So he took her to the tailor, and they tailored her, the 1930s, 1940s kind of, suits, jacket and, blouses and skirts and stuff like that. And he took her and he did her hair, so she doesn't have to cover up. Absolutely beautiful. And she looked like I forgot her name, the girl from, the actress from Gone with the Wind. She's very pretty, but very tall, my grandmother. She's like 5'8", 5'9", and very slim, very, very lean. Actually, she gave birth to her 3rd child while washing dishes in the kitchen under the sink. And she literally cried out to my mother, and she said that, just bring a towel, the baby's coming. And the baby came. And when I asked my mom and I said, what did she do? She goes, she just finished the dishes. Then she attended to the new baby. Obviously, they had neighbors and family around them, and they came in and helped out. But that's how, the endurance of her, she did it all nonstop. I think maybe that's where I get my stamina, my energy. I never want to stop. But anyways, you look at her pictures and you see her all dressed up, very modern, 1940s fashion. But if you look closely, she had the tattoo on her chin, and everybody would ask her. So for me to honor that tradition, I don't belong to anybody, by the way. But, I promised myself that when I hit, a lot of things, happen in my life, and, I want to pass on after this life with the markings of what my life has been. So on my left arm, I have my best friend, my mother-in-law, and my husband's name all entwined together. And then underneath was my mom's name in Arabic. And then I'll show you. It's right here. And then all around it, those are prayers, means in God's will. In God's name, by God's will, God is great. And then underneath, it's Hebrew and Arabic, and it says Fawda, which means chaos 2020, obviously. Obvious reason. This one's my mom name in 2021 because we just, just started. That's when she got diagnosed with dementia, and I started spending a lot more time with her. This one right here, it's not a verse, but a term. My mom used to use it when I used to get upset about people in school and stuff, and she's like, just hell with them, basically. That means toz. But that's my heritage right here. And then my other arm, Live Free or Die, 603 in New Hampshire, and then Miami, Florida. And then, of course, my favorite Disney is Daisy. And Daisy Duck, those are her initials, but also it's initial for Doris Day, which is my favorite actress and singer of all times. I have one planned this summer. It's a surprise. I'll share with you guys. But it's just honoring, the two most impactful women in my life. I want to carry them with me. I want to pass on with me. And I feel like I'm closer to them with that. This one here is just more about what I believe in, and just, reference to some of the stuff that, like I said, the principles and inspiration. So that's my tattoo story. Yes, I do have tattoos. Nowhere else, just my arms. I can't, I just, I can't, but I admire it. It's art. It's beautiful. And it's very expressionist practice, which is, again, it's an ancient practice. And I think, these days it's no-brainer. It's very safe and stuff. So we are fortunate. That's it. I'm out of time again. I hope you guys like this video, and I catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.